As Farrah Fawcett has battled to live, Jacqueline Smith, her friend, has been quietly supportive.
What is it? Is it the hair? Is it the smile? Is it the body? It's just the whole package. Her hair. I mean, I've said many times that it could have its own phone line. It had a life of its own, and I think that iconic style will be recreated for generations to come. I think she was truly the girl next door, although I didn't live next door to a girl like Farrah.
What's your favorite memory of Farrah?
It was Gaston, my son's birthday, his 4th birthday. And I looked out the door, and there was Farrah coming up the driveway with little Redmond in her arms, and he wasn't a month old. And there was something about that day, that a connection between Farrah and I, that we're where we wanted to be. This was a dream. We had our guys, and everything was right. I think everybody takes their path. She's definitely an original. I mean, leaving a hit show after a year, painting with her body, sculpting, doing Playboy in her 50s. I mean, she was and is always unpredictable.
You know, it's so interesting that you had your own battle with cancer, breast cancer, in 2003. Farrah was supportive of you then? And
yes, I mean, all three of us. Kate experienced breast cancer, I experienced breast cancer, and then Farrah, in her humor, said, what was it? The water we were drinking? And, you know, I mean, she maintained her humor, which is hard to do in the face of cancer. She had an unrelentless capacity to fight this disease.
not long ago, Farrah wrote a letter to Jacqueline. This is the first time she shared it publicly.
I want to thank you, my dearest friend, for helping me take this ambiguous journey. Fear of everything seems just around the corner every day, and it's my biggest test because I was never bothered by fear. I always felt that if I succeeded, that was great, and if something failed, my attitude was, what's the worst that could happen? A failure. So you just move on. But this fear doesn't work that way. So, dear ones, thank you, with love and appreciation.
Shortly after Farrah Fawcett died this morning, I spoke with her longtime doctor, Lawrence Pirro. Did she die peacefully?
She was very peaceful, she was pain-free, and she was surrounded by love. And that's certainly all we can ask for, and in that sense, she had a beautiful, beautiful time as she transitioned.
Doctor, in these last days, was she conscious enough to talk to people and hear what they had to say? She was that conscious?
You know from your interviews and your relationship with Farrah, Barbara, that Farrah was a very unpredictable person. And just when you thought she was going to turn left, she would turn right. And during these days, it was exactly the same way. Just when you thought she was going to drift off to sleep, she would open her eyes and perk up and say a few words or make a few comments. And so she spent these last days like she spent her whole life surprising people.
Who actually was at Farrah's bedside when she died?
Well, of course, Ryan O'Neal was with her, loving her, talking to her, caressing her, and reliving with her so many great experiences of life.
He talked to her up until her moment of death?
He did, right up until the very moment. Her friend Alana Stewart, who of course was helpful to her throughout this time, Mella Murphy, another of her friends, and myself.
When Ryan was talking to Farrah, what was he saying?
He was talking about everything from how he felt about her to humorous stories of their time together and tender moments and really reliving their life together. He is so in love with Farrah, and he's grappling with how he's going to let go. He calls her an American beauty.
They wanted to get married, but they didn't get married.
The reason that they wanted to marry was really to just kind of ratify in traditional terms of a wedding, a 30-year relationship of love, to establish, the real commitment that they had to one another, and I think especially for Ryan to be able to keep her alive for him. But in fact, they were far more than husband and wife over these years. They were soulmates. Their connection was as deep could be, perhaps far deeper than many husbands and wives. They would have liked that sort of traditional commemoration, but it didn't matter in the end. Time just simply ran out.
Farrah and Ryan's son, Redmond, is in jail and was not with her when she died. Was he in contact with her?
Well, unfortunately, he wasn't able to be present in person, but he did speak to his mother by phone twice yesterday, and he was able to say all the things that he wanted to say, and she heard him, and she was able to be responsive, and so it was a very nice and tender and important, moment for both of them in this closure.
That must have been very important to Farrah to talk to Redmond.
Yes, Farrah had many roles in life. There was no role more important to her than mother. And like for many mothers, when Redmond hurt, Farrah hurt, and she certainly wanted to grab him and squeeze him and solve all of his problems.
From the beginning, you told Farrah that her cancer could not be cured. From the beginning, she fought it. What can we take from this, Doctor?
She really was someone who could look fear in the face and conquer it. And I think when all of us reflect on our own lives, the emotion which controls us so greatly is fear. And I think that was Farrah's message to us, and the way she conducted her own journey is be as fearless as you can be. Don't be intimidated by fear. Keep marching forward. Do what you think is right. Fight for what you want to fight for, whether you're winning the battle or not.
Doctor, can you recall Farrah's last words to you?
They were thank you.
What's the legacy of Farrah Fawcett?
It'll be something, that's for sure. If we have anything to say about it, it will. But it'll take care of itself. She was everybody's love, wasn't she? Everybody's.
Love. It's a legacy of love. Beautiful friend. She's a wonderful mother, daughter, things that I admire.
She was a pin-up actress and free spirit, but in her final journey, Farrah Fawcett played the role of her life. With guts and determination, she showed us what cancer teaches everyone to do, to look in the face of fear and not shudder. When you think about Farrah, do you have any last words?
I love you.
Are you prepared to lose her?
No. I'm very happy going to her house every day, if she's awake or not, or tending to her, and that's my life. I'm not interested in anything but seeing to her comfort. That is my role. I don't want it to change. I want her to see her son again. I want her to see the beach again. I want her to sit up.
You've just been so wonderful to her, and it's changed you too, hasn't it?
Damn it.